Hey, good evening, one and all. My name is Donato, and welcome to tonight's live vlogcast, or whatever you want to call it. Yes, and I'm here to talk to you about five hacks to help you run faster without any additional running training. That's right, folks, you heard right. I'm going to say let's dive into this, but this is live, and I know there's lots of you already there, so please do leave some, I think, in the chat over on that side, is it? Or that side? I don't know. The way I'm looking, it's over on that side, but it might be your side, so mirroring. But a very warm welcome to each and every one of you who are here live right now. Do leave some comments, say hello, where you from, where you're watching me live, because tonight is the 5th of November. And for those of you who aren't in the UK, it's bonfire night. Guy Fawkes, hey Dave, welcome, welcome, welcome. So things are bound to go off with a bang. But before I go into that, if you are new here, whether you are new or not, click on that subscribe button and subscribe to this channel. Give me the thumbs up if you are watching. I know right now already there's 5 of you watching live, so 5 alive, yeah, on the 5th of November. Give some thumbs up, and one just switched off. Thank you for that person who switched off. Oh, and another 2 switched off. Yes, you've all had enough of me already. Anyway, yes, Rachel, hello. No work for me tonight, so I thought you'd join in. Welcome one and all. So welcome Dave, Rachel. And I have no auto cues, no production team, no cameras or whatever. Although I have to remember not to look. You might see my eyes looking that way because I'm looking at myself, but obviously the camera is there, so I should be looking up there. But anyway, yes. Do you like the bibs, by the way? Yeah. Oh, nice. Yes. So I have some happy news in the past week. So I'm going to go through some happy news and stuff and things. And as I mentioned, the old admin is do subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And I do like that big thumb there. Ditch runner, yes, Rachel, I do like that big thumb up. So I mentioned that one. I've got a few notes here. So as you can see, I've got lots of notes. Oh, wrong way around, yes. And it was recent. We had, what was it? I've got New York City Marathon. A lot of you, I don't know if you ran the virtual New York Marathon at the weekend, but that was New York. And then you got Chicago there, Boston, London. And then there was the virtual London Air and some other lovely races that I had there as well. But it was the virtual. Now, I noticed that I've got some notepad here, just as I digress a bit. I don't know if you can see that. It says stroke of genius. Now, this was a notepad that I had from the hotel in Chicago. Was it 3 years ago? Oh, for those of you in Chicago, can you remind me? No, it was 2 years ago. New York was 3 years ago. Chicago was 2 years ago. So yes, happy memories, happy memories. So well done to everyone who had their virtual New York's, virtual whatever. So in terms of my happy news, you may have seen that I finally launched my merch brand, whatever you want to call it. It's up and running. So thank you all so much for that wonderful feedback and coming up with the name. I've got the designs up. So the website is up and you can go and fill your boots with whatever merch you want. And it's called Grounded Republic. So the website is groundedrepublic.com, all one word, groundedrepublic.com. You can go there now and have a look at all those jazzy whizzy stuff. So a lot of work and effort has gone into get that up and running. So I know a lot of you have been asking for merch. So rather than buy merch saying Donato at New York or something, I thought let's come up with something proper type brand. But thank you, Dave. I do thank you for that comment. Yeah, it looks a brilliant brand, great colors. Yes, I like the colors. So I have worked with a number of professionals from around the world to get that to where it is. It isn't just me, don't worry. Yes, I came up with the concept and the brief and everything, but quite a lot of us worked on that to get it to where it is, and also the different types of clothing items, accessories, and so on. So it's just something to get started. It's going to evolve and develop. If there's any, I'm going to give a shout out. If there's any bloggers out there who or want to be bloggers, who want to get in touch, and basically it's active lifestyle. So talk about anything to do with activity, whether it be fitness, sport, mental well-being, food, anything like that. Email us at, I think the email is thegroundedrepublic@gmail.com. So yeah, email thegroundedrepublic@gmail.com. So yes, and also on some other good news, shall I show you something that arrived in a box? Ooh. It's sort of linked to Halloween. When I tell you the name of this thing, it is linked to Halloween. We've just had Halloween, haven't we? So, ooh, look at these. Shoo. Yes, do you recognize the brand? Yes, Saucony. And the name of the shoe, would you believe? I thought it was Fast Twitch, but no, it's Fast. Can you see that? Fast Witch. Yeah, Fast Witch. I mean, what a name, eh? Cracking name. Love it. So as an update, I may have mentioned I'm going to be doing some short course training over the next 4 weeks. I'll probably record videos and do the weekly updates as I do with marathon. So as all the marathons have been cancelled, postponed, and it is a long way, and with all this C19. And by the way, with this live chat, there'll be 2 topics that I won't be covering, and that's C19 and that comedy show across the pond. Apologies to our American friends, I know. Right, well, welcome, Running Romani just joined. Yes, our American friends, that comedy show that's going on across the pond. I think they call it an election, but oh, so funny. So I won't be talking about those 2 topics. No. We're going to talk about the 5 hacks of running. So, and I'll talk more about that Fast Witch, which will help me go fast, hopefully at 5K, 10K. I haven't decided what distances yet, but that's what I'll be focusing over sort of next 4 weeks. The legs are mending. I had great good news on the Saturday where I had my, I keep forgetting the names of these leg muscles or whatever. You've got your quads at the front, and what's those things? The hamstrings at the back. Yeah. So I had a massage therapist. Someone recommended me a massage therapist. So I've had my legs given a good old grind, and the old glutes as well, and they were pretty tight. So I felt fantastic after that. Had a nice 10K on the Sunday, and today I've ran the furthest I've ran since the marathon, and that was, as you do, a half marathon. So yes, I've got this challenge where I'm joining in with a few guys, a daily 5K. But don't worry, don't fret. I'm not going to do a daily 5K run. In fact, I already missed out on one of those. But it includes cycling, walking as well. So I might cycle or walk 5K on some of the other days. On one of the days, I did do a 26K turbo bike ride. So yes, that was me done. But I think that's brought me up to date with, did I scribble those on the notes? What I was going to say is, with this live stuff is I'm going to do this every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Remember the time and the place, because with here in the UK, England, whatever you want to call it is, we're going into another lockdown. And with these live chats, I think it's a great way for us to keep us connected whilst we're apart, so to speak. There's no, for me, I don't know about you guys watching, but for me, there's no replacement in terms of real life events, meeting real life people, shaking hands and all that type of stuff. But we have to make the best of whatever's going on. So it keeps us connected. That's what I think. And my question to you guys, before I go into my 5 hacks, leave it in the comments now if you want. And if you're watching this on replay, leave it in the comments below. Do you have any hacks that help you run faster on particular race days? You know, what kind of hacks do you know or have used or heard of and tried? And I've got to tell you, these 5 that I'm going to go through, I've researched all of these and I've used all of these, and they do work. Yeah, not just for me, they work for some elite athletes. You might have heard of some guy called Eliud Kipchoge, works for him. And yes, it works for all types, but people of all different levels. So what I'm going to go through these 5, it applies for all levels of runners, not just elites. It applies to people in the middle, people at the end, people who walk, jog. This helps all levels. So I'm sure you've got your pen and paper ready. I've got my pen. Yeah, I've got my cup of tea. Yes, cup of tea ready. By the way, those you want to know, this is peppermint tea. Yes, other brands are available. Peppermint, so chin chin, everyone. So I was going to say, are you ready for this? Because I like to keep things a bit upbeat, because that's me. So, and of course, as soon as I click, here we go. Are you ready for this? As they say, that's all I do. So I'm waiting for the words to come on this, but as you know, there is some fireworks banging out on the side there. So this is sort of... Are you ready for this? I'm ready for this. So hack number 1. Yes, I know you want to. Now we're up to, we're almost into double figures. Yes, before I do, I'm going to be digressing and commenting, joining in with your chat. So if you've got questions, I'm going to come on to the questions at the end. But leave your comments here. I've already got some. Dave Cowdery's mentioned caffeine gels helps him. Sorry, Dave, my bad. I forgot to mention that these hacks, it doesn't involve any magic drinks, potions. I did write it down, but I missed my notes. But anyway, so there's no powders, no drinks, no magic potions. And as I say, with Halloween, it's no magic, you know, there's no witchcraft. So unfortunately, Dave, yes, it helps me too, but not on that. Yes, and by the way, Dave, yes, you can buy the gear now. If you go to groundedrepublic.com, it's all online. You can click and buy as much as you want. And running around, yes, caffeine gels. You've had a phase of cup of coffee and energy bar before a race seem to help, or placebo effect. That's a good point, Running Romani. And yes, I've again, my bad. I should have said, caffeine too. Yes. I know. And the first thing that one of the guys, I don't know whether he's online, but Carl Whalebourne, he came 5th in the London Marathon Virtual. That's like, he's a pretty fast runner. And we had a bit of a banter online yesterday, and he sent me his 5 hacks. I won't repeat them because some of them are on principle, although there was one in there, and that was drink a cup of coffee was hack number 3, I think. And then number 4 was drink more coffee. So I think we all know caffeine works, but I'm talking about non-caffeine, non-drinks, non-potions, as I say, no witchcraft. But what do you dare? And hi, Rebecca, welcome. Good to see you. Our breathing coach, yes. You've missed out on the breathing now. I was going to do, shall I get back to my music? We're all ready for this now. So hack number 1, I've got to get this going. Number 1, race buddy, a pacer. Yes, that's right. It's been proven time and time again. Only last week when I had Tim on as a guest and he ran a sub 3, he arranged to meet up with a guy in a sub 3 group and to pace him around that race. And he said that helped him tremendously to run a sub 3. So a race buddy, ideally someone who you train with and someone who's got the confidence and quicker for you. And I know that, I don't know if you're online, Tom, as well, Marathon Tom. People have offered to pace me for a sub 3 and so on. But yes, the race, I call it a race buddy. Some people have pacers. If you have set pacers, and I have to stress that with all these 5 hacks, you need to do the training in the first place. Yeah, if you've trained and you're fit and you're healthy, these are the 5 that help you go faster or as fast to your optimum that you've trained to. And the race buddy, in my opinion, is the number 1 hack. I don't know if people who are watching have had pacers and you've run with pacers. Pacers are great. And a lot of them do run, as my understanding, if there's any pacers watching, is a steady pace. So there isn't any slow and then you build up. So as you may well know, that when you start with a marathon in particular, that you'll start off slow and then pick up. I mean, there's a lot of people who do go steady, but I think for a lot of people who do go quicker, start off slow and then pick up the pace there. So my first hack is race buddy. And if you can train with that person as well, you may have seen Andy Forrestadina trained to the guy, ran with that guy, ran a fantastic time, but he was with another runner running at that pace. So I'd love to run with you guys. So running with a race buddy really does help. So that's hack number 1, having a race buddy. Hack number 2, to help you run quicker. Kicker, I nearly said kicker. I think I need some more of this tea. And someone has just commented, Dave Cowdery, yes, Chris from Here We Are Running. For those who watch YouTube, there is a channel called Here We Are Running. Paced me at the Surrey Half last March, and it really works. Hooray! And hello, Sean. Caffeine, does that result in more lose stops? I think you know the result of that one, Sean. Yes. Just be aware, I think if those who are watching, I'm sure Rebecca, because you're very scientific, there's something in caffeine or coffee in particular that gets downstairs working a bit more. There's a word for it. So yes, Sean, it could result in more loose stops or one of those types of loose stops. So yes, but everyone's different. Tommy's, that's it, diuretic. It's got a diuretic in there. Thank you, Rebecca. I knew you'd know. Rebecca was a guest on here, helped teach how to breathe. And by the way, I think that would be hack number 6, wouldn't it be, Rebecca? Breathing properly. Yeah, but anyway, yes, you are such a nerd. We're all nerds. I'm a nerd. Hey, yes, that I would have that as hack number 6 in terms of the breathing properly. That would make you go faster. But I've got 5 here that I've listed off. Maybe we could do a whole new, get you back on, Rebecca, to talk about the breathing, because I think there's more and more people coming to the surface since we had that interview talking about breathing. Hack number 2, course selection. Yes, select a fast course. Yeah, I know it sounds obvious, and some of these you'll think, oh, it's the ministry of the bleeding obvious. But yes, Courses. I've heard, and I don't know if it's true, that some people, maybe those stateside, there's particular races in the US. Everyone hears about Boston. Yes, there's my Boston. Oh, yes, Boston. That one that was raining and snowing and windy and whatever, but we still finished. It's like the pinnacle. It's like the Olympics of marathon racing, in particular over in the US. Everybody sees it. If you qualify for Boston Marathon, get yourself a Boston medal. It's like you've reached a pinnacle. And it is a fantastic achievement. But Boston Athletics Association, the BAA, they found that certain people were qualifying more in certain races than others. So when they investigated it, they found that the courses were sort of like that. That's right, some were like that. So yes, they've disqualified a number of courses because it's the net downhill is way too beneficial. Now, what I mean by select a good course, I don't mean find a downhill course because that's blinking obvious, yeah. But find one that's got a particular route that works to help you run quickly. And also there's other factors in terms of the course. Are you the kind of person that positively thrives when there's a crowd there, when there's people, when there's a support, when there's, you know, thousands and thousands of runners around you? Or are you kind of person who thrives on courses where it's more on a trail, where you're more on your own doing that? Find the course that suits you and helps you feel good on that race day. For me, I do love the big crowds. I mean, that's why I've done these marathon majors. I absolutely love it. And I love being surrounded by runners all the time and running with runners. In fact, you could say when you're with the crowd and you're all running at a pace, those are all your run buddies, which was tip number one. But the tip number two is select a good course. And I do know as a fact, I think there's 2 courses still qualified for Boston in the US, and people fly thousands of miles to go to those events and race and to get a Boston qualifier because they know they're going to get a fast time there because of that particular course. So there it's more about the route. I'd say the key things is look at route, people, support, accessibility, and also getting to the start, because sometimes how you get to the start can help you in terms of preparing properly and help you do that. So does that make sense? Course selection? I hope it does. Give it a thumbs up if you do. Anyway, so we're adding more and more people. So I'm almost, 2/5 of the way through. So I'm going to come on to hack number 3. Hack number 3. Yes, Dave, you only ever race flats. Hills scares me. Yeah, Southern Softy. I do know there's a lot of people who refuse to do races on hills because they ain't going to get a PB, which I find quite sad, really, because really we should just be running for the joy of it. But yeah, if you're running for a PB, Dave, stick to your flats or find some downhills. But the thing is, once you've found a downhill course, which I've seen on some YouTube channels, these guys persistently just keep going downhill and they're not really challenging. So get a bit of a mix. So Southern Softy, that's more of a UK thing, isn't it? UK phrase. I don't know if they have that in the US. Do you have Southern Softies and Northern Jessies or whatever, or Northern Tough Nuts or whatever it's called? But anyway, chin chin. Hack number 3. And you like this one, and because I'm guessing there are positively hundreds of YouTube channels and blogs that talk about these items of clothing. Yeah, shoes. That's right. Now these are my Nike Run Infinity. These aren't my race shoes. These are my training shoes. So what do I mean by hack number 3? Shoes. Choose the right shoes that fit you, are comfortable. As I'm stating the obvious here, but I see so many people who go out and buy a pair of shoes because they've read a review or seen something on YouTube and think, oh, they're super fast, they're super good, and they get them and it doesn't really work for them. But because they've seen so many reviews, it's absolutely amazing. I'm not afraid to say whether a pair of shoes are a crock of beep. And I'll say that, and if I'm not there to conform. So these Nike Run Infinity, I know a lot of people slated these shoes. They said they don't work, they're awful, they're this, but for me, fantastic. Now, what's interesting is I did do a review, and if you go back a few videos, do we call them, that I've done a review of these over 500. I'm coming up to 700k now on these, and yes, they're a bit muddy. I went out today. This is what I've done my 22k today in, and but the sponginess is beginning to go, and I found that as long as they are Nike, yes, that running guy. So the shoes, it's essential to have a pair that you feel comfortable in and that you feel you're going to go fast. There is something, I know some people talked about placebo effects, and having spoke to a number of elite athletes and those who do run super fast, they do concur that putting on certain shoes, as long as they're comfortable and they fit right, all of that, it's got to fit right, and they're not to hurt your feet. There's a placebo effect where you think you're going to run fast, and you do. If I completely forgot to get my marathon shoes that ran in, they were so minimal. They're almost similar to these fast witches. This is similar to the original Freedom ISO, and that's what I run a marathon in. There's next to nothing here. Completely contrary to the Zoom X Nike, that's got about that much platform and foam, which works for some guys. And yeah, that new shoe feeling is great, and it does work. And as I say, I've seen people, it does have a placebo effect, but it's got to be a shoe that fits and you're comfortable and that you feel you're going to go fast. When I got those Freedom ISOs, as soon as I put them on the treadmill in the running shoe shop, I felt like I was being catapulted. I didn't feel so catapulted with my Zoom X, sorry to say. I think having spoke to some other athletes, and some who do use the X%, some who don't, and they just say how it is, and I'm just repeating what they say, is apparently there's some people, when you put on the Next% Zoom X, whatever, Vaporfly, Zoom Tempo, Boingy shoes, that you have they're called a non-effect. So unfortunately, they don't work for me, because in terms of how my foot strikes and my gait and all that type of stuff doesn't really work. I'm getting text messages here. And yes, I think I went, oh, and there's some people watching who've got my number and texting me whilst you're watching. Naughty, naughty. Yeah. But then I have got my YouTube music on, so I need the phone on. But and Running Reminder here saying, been using Asics Gel Cumulus for many years now, almost scared to change. I totally understand, Running Reminder. But if they work for you, then stick with it. However, and I'm not here to sell running shoes or whatever. And as that running guy, Chris, if you know him, he's a great guy. He buys lots of discount shoes, but nothing is, wide toe box is also really good. Rebecca, when I used to have the Ultra has a massive wide toe box, but it's zero drop, which basically there's no change in the heel and the front, may not work for some people. But what I'm about to say is I'm not here to sell in these brands. I don't get any commissions or anything like that. But these are two brands that I've used in the past, literally past month, 6 months, 2 months. So it's Nike and Hoka. So Nike online here in the UK, you can order shoes. So this is for you, Running Ryan. If you want to try something and you're afraid that you don't want to try something new, both Hoka, I think Hoka have what they call a 30-day challenge. So you can buy any pair of shoes online. I think it's hokaoneone.eu. And you've got a 30-day challenge, and you can run in them for 30 days. And if you don't like them, put them back in the box. Basically, you get a return slip, post it, and it's free to go back with UPS. Nike, I think I returned that via the post office. So again, you just print something off, or you can ask them to mail you the return thing. So I had the Zoom Tempo and the Zoom X Next%, and I sent both of them back, and didn't work for me. The Hoka ones, funny enough, the size was just a little bit. Those new trail shoes that I had when I went out on the trails, whilst they were fine on the road, when I was up and down some steep mountains, I call them here in the Lickey Hills, one of my toes on one foot was stubbing, so I thought I need to go a shoe size up. So Hoka quite happily, taking the shoe back, and they're going to send me a replacement. So worth looking at. And as I say, I'm not being paid by Nike or Hoka. If any of you know whether Adidas, Asics, or any of the other guys do the same, give it a go. But yes, it is worth knowing. And me too, I'm also old in setting my ways, but I tend to not deviate. And I know that Chris, that running guy, does stick with Nike. I tend to stick with Saucony. And I've heard that, I've not heard, I've seen on the website, and I've seen some people that Hoka have come out with the Rocket X. I mean, what a cracking name that is. So it's bound to make you go like a rocket. But again, if your foot isn't of a certain size, and I know that Dan Runs uses Hokas, and he has a wide fit. Some of the shoes on the Hokas aren't wide fit, they're quite narrow. So yeah, so I always go for a full zip up in Nike. Brooks, only half a size up. Yes, again, different brands, different sizes. I find it very annoying because some brands I'm a size 10, some even 10 and a half, and other shoes 9 and a half. So it's pretty annoying that but yeah, if anyone knows, because these shoes have virtually come to the end. I've lost the bounce and they don't feel as good. So I've gone over 700k. So there's about maybe 200k left on these. So through the winter, I'm going to need another everyday, lots of mileage shoes. So if anyone's got any recommendations, either here or leave it in the comments below. I think leave it in the comments, otherwise I'll forget them all. Let me know. I have looked at Adidas, I think the SL20, and SL20 looks good. It's nice, light, good traction as well. But I don't know whether that's good for sort of high mileage everyday training, whether they're too firm, or should I go for the, I can't remember. Dave, you retire everything at 650k. Wow. Now, to me, I read that as money, because that's a good bit of money. That is 650,000. But yeah, 650 kilometers. That's a decent amount, Dave. That's a good bit of mileage on there. And I think sometimes I then use them as a walking shoe and carry on with that. But I still have down there, I won't reach down, the famous Saucony Freedom ISO 2 that's done over 1,000 miles. So that's what, 1,600 kilometers. So it might sound insane, but when you're just doing steady mileage on nice roads, it's good. It feels good for me. So that's the shoes. That was tip number 3. I know it's a lot on that one, but it's an important one, getting the right shoes. Now, the next 2 tips, 2 hacks, whatever you want to call them, it's a bit more inward about what's going on with us. And I'll do number 1 first. And I've called this life. Yeah, life. If we want to run faster, we need to have our lives in order. And I mean this in a nice way, you know, especially with what's going on right now. Here we are going into lockdown, and I'm having to deal with issues and things. I've had some, which you've probably seen on previous videos, going through some awful stuff, which I wouldn't wish on anybody. But we get through this. It's temporary. What's going on right now with this lockdown for another 4 weeks, it's temporary. You have got me to look forward to every Thursday, 7 p.m. Yes, Lockdown Live, where we'll be doing this and having some hot topics and something to look forward to. So this helps me, and I'm sure it helps you guys as well. It's great talking to you and seeing your comments. And Paige, I just saw your comment there. By the way, Paige, brilliant. I know you felt disappointed with that 5K time, but it's still a brilliant time. So you like the Nike Zoom Speed for short runs and Nike Renew Run for longer. And excellent. So not much choices for you. So again, different size feet. I do know, Paige, there's some people who've got, I think when I interviewed Tim, he's got massive feet. And I think Andy Forrester-Dean, they've got like size 13 feet. So they haven't got much choice at that end. And yes, unfortunately, when we're at the smaller size end, there's not much choice at that end either. But use what works for you, Paige. So I would say that was a brilliant time, by the way. So keep that up. Keep that up. I think it was at Olympic Park, wasn't it? So well done there. But yeah, number 4, I call it life. Because as we go through life, you know, it's basically if we have stresses, anxieties, and one thing that I saw from a triathlete, obviously I do follow triathlon channels, running all types of channels. I'm not sort of just down one narrow channel of just running. And the guy had a triathlon, and he said he wasn't feeling it and it wasn't good or whatever. And often when you come with that sort of thought of not feeling it, he then let out what he'd been going through. And the comments came through, well, that's why. I mean, basically, he was in the middle of a house move, changing job, you know, all of those. I mean, a house move, apparently, I think is one of the most stressful things you can go through. And we forget and we take for granted that our fitness will get us through, but it's what's going on up here as well and within us. So we need to have our life in order. If you look at a lot of the top athletes, they almost create a cocoon around themselves and a bubble that they want to focus purely on that event, race event, and that helps you. So we need to get our lives in order to help with that. So yeah, makes sense. And I know, Rebecca, big thumbs up. So if you are watching, I know there's over a dozen of you now watching live, so give that a thumbs up. And I'll come on to my 5th and final hack. And then you can start throwing questions out and we'll see how we pan out, because we've been going on here for half an hour, haven't we? So the 5th and final one, which I think is the most important, you know, you've got your race buddies, you found your right course, you've got comfy shoes, you've sorted your life out, what's the fifth most important? Because you can have all those four working great, but the fifth one, which I feel is the most important. Yes, Paul, welcome, Paul. Cracking, thumbs up, is attitude. Our attitude, how we feel towards that race. You know, are we feeling good? Because in my opinion, the attitude determines your altitude, a bit like that rocket that just went off in the fireworks here. So they've got good altitude on that rocket. So our attitude is so important. If you watch any of my race videos, I love running. And when I go out training, I never have a bad training run. Never. Some training runs are better than others, but I never have a bad training run. I think I've had one training run where I got injured. So you could technically say that's bad, but I was feeling good up to that point where I got injured. But what I'm trying to say to you is my attitude of every training run, every race, is I feel fantastic. I'm up for it. I'm going for it. Some things aren't in order, but I'll try and wade through that. But if you are missing the big races, and this is sort of a bit of a plug, is I've got a link in my channel, and you can watch through all the big races that I've done. The Brightons, the Boston. Do you remember? This is where I could do someone speaking to me now, but I can hear you. I can hear you. Yes. Hello, everyone. Hi, Ben. Welcome. We've nearly finished the show, Ben. Where were you, mate? So thumbs up, comments, and so the big races are there: New York, Chicago, I say Brighton, London. Have a look through them, and you'll see me at the start of races. I'm pretty pumped up and excited about it. I'm going in there with a proper positive attitude, and that's why every race I have a great outcome. I think the one that I had the most recent, unfortunately, you could see I was in a bad place, wrong attitude, everything wrong, and it just didn't work. So yeah, there you go. There's the proof in the pudding. So that's my 5 hacks. And as I said, I'll throw in the 6th hack, and we can talk about it as Rebecca's online, and that's the breathing, you know. But as I say, that could be a whole thing, and we'll get back in touch, Rebecca, and we'll sort out a chat and whatever. And as you say, Chris, confidence is key. And thank you, Dave. You do like my race vlogs. So yes, put some comments in there. So that's my 5 hacks. And for those of you watching on replay, you'll probably see people's comments coming in. And apologies for last week. I forgot to switch that on. So when it's saved, you couldn't see people's comments. So all you could see me was talking that way. And if you're watching me on replay thinking, who's he talking to? He's talking to himself. So thank you all so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. As I said, this is going to be every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. I appreciate the time differences with the US, and in particular, apologies, Kiwi man in New Zealand and all my Aussie fans and over in Asia, is that the time is a bit askew, but maybe we can mix up the times and we can have a special one for our Asian and Southern Hemisphere viewers for that. But at the moment, it's predominantly UK and European wide things. So yeah, give it a thumbs up. Don't worry, Ben. You can watch it on replay. Sorry, I'm late. Setting up my phone. Long story. Yeah, I can imagine. I know, Ben, that this is not the first time I've done a live one. I've lost count. This is probably the umpteenth. Having been doing these for about 4 years, and YouTube keep changing the technology. It's very frustrating. So YouTube, if you are watching this, why do you keep changing it? But anyway, the technology was simple, but now it's making it different. And yes, Rebecca, number 7. I love it. So keep adding your comments of what you think would help you run faster. And that is the recovery and rest and sleep. I have done a video about recovery. I've done it, the recovery diaries. And you'd have to go back. I might dig those up and redo them, rejig them, maybe with some of you guys, and we'll do like a 2-way, 3-way, 4-way thing, whatever. But whatever. That sounds a bit. Anyway, you know what I mean. Not that type of 3-way thing, but maybe we could have some joke time. It's more funnier than the elections that's going on across the pond. Sorry, I said I wouldn't mention that one, but keep the comments coming. And yes, watch them back, Ben. It's some great races, but I know that you're predominantly a trail runner, Ben. But you may appreciate some of the races out there. It's all road races, but it's good fun. Most of my training, for those of you who don't know, Ben Notley, if you look at his comments there, and that running guy, Chris, they've both got YouTube pages. But Ben predominantly does trail running training races. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ben. And but for me, most of my training is on trails, not all the hills and stuff, but mainly along canals. So off-road, because I don't like having to stop and look for cars and cross. So when I'm out training, so when you're out in the countryside, and here where I am, I'm near the Licky Hills and the Beacon Hills and the Waisley Hills. That's why I've got my trail shoes. So through the winter, I'll be adding in more trail training runs, and hopefully you'll see some of the videos like that. But go and have a look. I'd highly recommend go and have a look at Ben's. And definitely Chris, that running guy, is super fast lad. I say lad because everyone's a lad compared to me, as I'm the old geezer, the oldest runner in town. But no, I think I'm going to wrap up now, because we've come up to 35 minutes, a little bit longer than I was expecting. This is about the sort of length that I used to do the podcasts. Kenyan Hills. Oh no, Paige, please don't persecute me with Kenyan Hills. Does everyone know what Kenyan Hills are for training? Yeah, that's where you train running up. Yeah, so we know you do hill repeats. You go running up, and then the Kenyan Hills, that's not just running up, you then run back down. Oh my word. It's frightening training. Is that predominantly the kind of training you do, Paige? I've not done Kenyan Hills in about 3 years, but that's another story. So most of my training is just slow plodding, and which I'll keep emphasizing and re-emphasizing. It's just slow running, slow training. And now and again, but as I'm going to be progressing in, because there's a lot more watching now than was earlier, I'm just going to summarize that for me over the next 4 weeks, starting this Sunday, Monday, whenever it is. I'm going to go into a 4-week training cycle for a 5K or 10K. I don't know yet exactly, but I think I'm just downloading a standard plan and see how it works, because I've not really been one doing these 800-meter reps, 1K reps for many years. I haven't done any of that because I used to get injured oh so often. And Lawrence, welcome. Yes, best telly tonight. Oh, you're too kind, Lawrence. So and for those, yeah, come back. We might do it a bit longer. I mean, with the chat that's going on here, I've covered my 5 points. So if you are watching on rewind, I'm done on the 5, so you can switch off whatever. But make sure you've subscribed. But for those who are watching live, we can get a bit of a banter going here on stuff. So yeah, the best TV. So kind, Lawrence. I don't have any of those auto cues. For those who in the UK know your Anton Dex, and I think, is it the One Show? So I'm competing with the One Show that I think has 2 or 3 million viewers. So hey, but they have lots of BBC, lots of camera crews, auto cues. I've actually been on the One Show, so I know what their live shows are like. And it's considerably more professional than this, but this is just a one-man band. But hey ho. So sounds like a plain band. Plain band sounds like a plan, Ben. Man, I'll get my tongue twisted. I think I need another sip of my tea. Bear with. So yes, I'm going to wrap up. We could keep chatting all night. So for next week, I haven't sorted the exact topic that I'll be going through and covering. And we can have some Q&As as well. Glad you enjoyed tonight, Dave. So looking forward to next week. I'm very much looking forward to next week. And for those who are in the UK, we are still allowed our daily exercise. And I'm going to continue going out every day, once a day, and certainly do my essential stuff. So we can still get out there. Don't let the lockdown hold you back. But again, following the guidance of the government, blah, 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 blah. Do what you feel comfortable with. I've got my indoor turbo trainer still. Lawrence, you'll remember that, yeah? So if they suddenly say that we have to stay indoors, I'm going to be on my turbo trainer every day, doing the exercise that way. And I'll still mix in a bit of turbo. But having looked at the 5K and 10K plans, I don't know where to mix in the turbo in there, because I'm toying with, I think a 3-day training week is a bit light for me. So I'm looking at 5 days. I definitely won't be doing the 6-7 days training because it's pretty rigorous for someone of my age. So maybe some of you young bucks can do the 7-day training plans and do that. But it'd be interesting to see where I go. And obviously with these, I say you can't beat the new shoe feeling. So as these are called the fast witches, I'm going to pour some magic potion in here and maybe find a broomstick, so I too can run super fast with these fast witches. But it'd be interesting to see how these compare. And for those of you who've got the Rocket X from Hoka, because I was toying between this and the Hoka, but I had a 50% discount voucher with Saucony, so this one won purely on budget. As you know, Chris, budget wins every time. So these for me were 50. Yeah, that's right. Bargain. So let's see again. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Dave Archer. Thank you so much. I'm going to head off now into the distant whatever. I look forward to seeing you all same time, same channel next week. I'll work out the topics and I'll put a link again of what it's all about. Glad you enjoyed it, Sean. Thumbs up. And yeah, give it the old thumbs up. Leave some comments. And be sure to put it in your diary. Spread the word. It's great talking to people, whether there's just one person, two, or hundreds. It's fantastic. I do love this, and it's great. Everyone can keep the things going here, and it's something to do for me of a Thursday evening after a week's training. And I'll see how to pan out in terms of my weekly video trainings as well, and give you an update. And I'll see you all next week. Thank you so much, Paul. I'll kiss you too, and kisses to everybody. Good night, one and all. And I'll see you all in the next channel. So bye. Thank you, Paige. Yes, I'll certainly be keeping it up. No club training for a while, but we can all train virtually, can't we? Anyway, I've got to go. See you guys. Enjoy the night. Bye.